How many did you come up with?
Infinity. I have 8 million.
Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. We are here again, right before I go on vacation. We're getting in a little early recording the day that I'm leaving for vacation. It is, according to my watch here, October 15th. That's definitely wrong because my watch broke yesterday, so I'm on a new watch and I didn't change the date yet. But it is September 28th, and somehow, someway, I'm going to the Outer Banks for vacation. Very late in the season, almost, dare I say it, in hurricane season. But who knows how that'll go. But I'm pretty excited. It'll be nice to just sit around and do nothing for a little while. How are you doing this morning, brother?
Good, but Outer Banks, dude, you're going to be on an adventure then. I've not watched the show, but I've heard if you go to the Outer Banks, dude, you're going out and go on a treasure hunt of some kind. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
have you been there before and such?
I have not.
Like that? Okay.
It's also pretty funny because I'm like 90% sure it's the Outer Banks, but it could be somewhere else because when we go on like a big family vacation, and most of the time when I go on vacation, I want to go to like Glacier National Park, Great Smoky Mountains, Colorado, somewhere that's like adventurous and I can go hiking. And so we went to the Great Smokies last year, and everybody else, I just basically got outvoted. They were like, I just want to sit on the beach, go to a pool, not do much. And I was like, alright, whatever, I don't care. So as soon as that was decided, I just checked out. I didn't know the dates, had no idea where we were going. Everyone was like, are you excited for vacation? I was like, yeah, it'll be fun. So, but that's a good point, dude. The Outer Banks, dude, maybe I'll just rustle up some treasure hunting. Next thing you know, you're getting a phone call from me being like, hey, I need you to come help me out. There's a bunch of crime guys here. They're trying to kill me.
And that's going to be after you get 500 calls being like, where are you? We can't find Dad. You're just climbing up some mountain, just like sword fighting off 9 dudes below you.
Yeah, dude, I found
quite the
in one of the lighthouses, dude, some sort of treasure map, and it's over. Here we go. We're having a good time. But how are you doing? How's your week looking?
The week ahead, to your point, checked out. I have no idea what it looks like. I don't know. I'll have to get there because we'll talk about it in the next episode for sure. But I got some medical news like last Monday, and ever since that, it was kind of like, it sounds like pretty hallmarky and stupid, but it's like almost like an emotional concussion is what it felt like. I just felt like kind of like dazed, you know what I mean? So I don't know what next week looks like. It's probably pretty standard, pretty normal work, and definitely Veritas stuff. We got some sweet book like drops coming next week. So,
yeah, dude.
We might be able to talk about that as well. It's going to be really nice Veritas season in the next month, this month, and the next couple weeks. Yeah,
we can well, first of all, this guy in the heart of Alexandria. I mean, look at how sick this book looks.
This looks fun. I like the colors a lot. It looks really pretty, dude. That is a mistake-looking book.
It has gone absolutely crazy since its release, and it is, I think, at last check, number 9 in overall bestsellers for its genre, and number 3 on new releases. So, dude, we are like so close to making it. So, if you haven't picked up a copy, definitely check it out. It is swashbuckling adventure at its finest, if I do say so myself. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed writing it, and if you like anything like, it's been getting, both of the reviews that are on there so far mention the Mummy, so it's been getting a lot of Mummy reviews. So if you're a big Mummy guy, and our good friend Jeff from the Discord, one of our published authors, he said it was perfect for the Halloween season. So maybe I snuck in a little bit of some horror elements. Who knows? I don't know. I guess you'll have to pick it up.
Right. And, yeah, that people know me. I love the Mummy. And when I say it's like the Mummy, yeah, there's like that horror element that Jeff touched on. For me, I think it reminded me of like the tone and vibe of the adventure that the Mummy takes on. Because the Mummy's adventure, I feel like, only is akin to Temple of Doom and your story. Like, it's got like a darker, more atmospheric, like, adventure tone that I really like and I really appreciate. That's why Temple of Doom is my favorite Indiana Jones, because you get a lot of adventure that's out in the woods. It's outside. It's like brighter. It's more. I don't know. I'm not gonna discuss the elements of your story, but the way the environment goes is just cooler and darker aesthetic, and I like it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. But we also have something that you and I both were able to contribute to, which is super sick. So at the time of this going live, it will be out, and I think it's 11 authors total, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's edited by Zach Grafman and Frank Theodat, and it is the Boys' Book of Adventure, and it is fantastic. We got to go over it a little bit. Luke did some of the formatting work, and it is just so cool. It's exactly what, I mean, you guys know us. You know the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast heart. We want to reach men with men's adventure fiction and make sure that they have like people to aspire to be like. But this one, dude, is locked in to making sure that young men are getting stories written for them by people who care about them and aren't just trying to fit them into some sort of box. They're actually trying to like give them stuff to aspire to be and grow with, and it is spectacular.
I think an issue with that genre of like boys fiction things, it's been so filled with stuff that we don't want for so long that you say that to someone, they probably are picturing something that's like campy and goofy and kind of dumb. So we should tell them, if you want to, like my story, your story, we could just go over kind of what the general plot is, so that because what we try to do and what I really love for the heart of Frank and Zach is that they wanted to tell like the actual kind of stories that the kids would want to read and are playing on their own, and showing them that they can handle more than the mass audience stuff thinks they can. They're always getting talked down to. They're always getting baby gloved. But like in my story, it's about a knight, and he gets injured on the battlefield. He is running for his life. He goes down this giant hill, and it's like in this valley, in this deep valley, that he's all broken and beaten. But he knows he needs to get back up this humongous hill from this valley to get into the fight to save this church. And it's kind of like one young man's kind of call to God, and asking for help, like, how do I get out of here? Is it worth getting out of here? Why is this happening? And he kind of just struggles to get back up and make it back into the fight. And when he does, I mean, we're talking knights fighting with swords. It's no kids book. I like it a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And then your story is also sick and has a connection to another short story collection. So tell them that.
Well, real quick, I'll jump on your story, which is truly fantastic. I remember reading it, and like the I don't know if it's not necessarily emotional weight, but kind of just like, and this is what the point of these stories are, I think, and I think everybody who wrote fully understood this, is that you want to give these young men, these boys, the opportunity to be like mentally preparing themselves for things they haven't thought of. I know when we were on the podcast with Zach and Frank, Zach was like, Treasure Island is one of my favorite boys' book, because it starts with Jim Hawkins having to get his mom out of their house and go hide, and he's like 13, 14, 15, something like that, and they have to go hide. I think he said like under a bridge or something. It's been a long time since I read the book, because the pirates are literally after these dudes. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you give that to a young man, he's now like, neural pathways are opening where it's like, bro, would I be able to hide my mom if pirates were attacking the house? And I think that your book did that so well, where it was like, most kids are not going to end up in a suit of armor on the battlefield with swords. You know, like, that is like the thing of the past for the most part. I mean, you never know where the next 20 years could go. But to give a kid that kind of like imagery and to think about it, it's like, man, if he was able to overcome this, climb all the way out of this valley to do the right thing, well, maybe when my friends are making fun of somebody and I don't think that they should be, I'm going to have the strength to stand up, because I'm going to immediately call to mind, like, well, at least I don't have to climb out of the damn valley. You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that that gives them these things, and that's exactly what everybody who wrote this did. They were like, all right, let's put these boys in a stressful situation that they might not be able to get out of, which is what I did with, I think it's called A Man's Responsibility, and it focuses on I guess another series character, because I can't write one-off guys, but Bartholomew Cullen in Fighting Heart of Man, he was a trapper, frontiersman guy in mid-1800s, and he, that book takes place when he's probably in his, like, late 30s, early 40s, but this one jumps all the way back to when he was, like, 15 years old, and he's there in, I think Maine is where he is, with his dad and two of their friends, and he sneaks out early in the morning to try and like set up to hunt, because they're on like a big hunting trip, and he's sitting there with his rifle, and he's got like some mud and stuff and bear grease plastered on there, so it's not drawing too much attention, and he's kind of like covered up with dirt so he can get the drop on these animals that he's hunting. And then he dozes off because it's super early in the morning, and when he wakes up, his whole entire camp has been taken by Native Americans. And so it's really the story of him being like, I'm very young to be taking these guys on all by myself, but I have to do it, and I'm going to do it. And it's super cool stuff. So I think that one, I really wanted to instill kind of the thought of like, even the people that he really looked up to, like these are three of the best trappers in the whole entire early like United States, and they got snuck up on. And so Bartholomew has to kind of like understand that he needs others need him, and it's all kind of working together, that even as a young man you can be called on to do really important stuff just out of the blue, you know. And I think it came across.
That's awesome. I agree. I did come across, and all the stories in it kind of hit that same thing, where none of them are outright preaching to the kids, but they are showing them, and kind of like you said, making a mental map of, yeah, I actually do have some importance in this world, and I do have meaning, and my life has, you know, there's a lot more to me that I need to grow and foster and care for. So like, hopefully it builds, once, you know, makes them want to build more strength, build more character, build all these things that these individuals in the stories have. I know that's what did it for me, like seeing Rocky, you know, made me want to work out and made me want to like make my body better. And so there's power in stories for sure, and I think that this book is really important, because if you get the right stories into kids' hands, you kind of foster a different kind of attitude and belief in themselves. And with the suicide rate being what it is for young men, it's like we need to give them something to believe in within themselves. We need to give them hope in themselves. We need to show them that they matter, that they have strength, that they have like these things that are very unique to men, that the world needs, and we don't want, you know, them to feel like less than or anything like that. So this is a great and important collection, I think, that I'm happy Veritas is being able to partner with Frank and Zach to get out there.
100%. And I think that's what you said is like so true. All of these stories are like I say, whenever I write something, there's no kind of intent of being like, all right, this is what I'm going to be trying to say. But the one thing that always comes across is like, it's super sick to be a man. You know, like, be a man, enjoy being a man. Don't feel sad that you're a man, or feel like, oh, I've got to be less manly because it's going to hurt people's feelings. It's like, dude, God gave you masculinity, and he gave you the ability to have like masculine desires for a reason. And I think similar to the swashbuckler mentality that we talked about earlier in this month, true men are crucially needed at this juncture in time. So if we're giving our young men who are trying to like figure out, okay, what is this all about? How do I be the man that I need to be? I mean, especially if you're thinking of like we talk about it all the time, Louis L'Amour is kind of the archetype set in the sky of how to write to young men, to men, and give them something to aspire to be. And we say, like, you could hand a fatherless young man a Louis L'Amour book or a Louis L'Amour collection, and there's a big chance that they turn out pretty solid if they take those things. I mean, obviously a lot of them are fiction, well, or they're all fiction, but a lot of them are like, I don't know, a little more like cleaned up than real life is sometimes, but they deal with some really hard stuff. I mean, thinking of just one is like a lady's husband got murked and she had to take over the ranch and raise her brother up to help take over. It's like, these are real heavy things. So it's super cool to have those as the background. But so like I'm saying, you hand someone a stack of Louis L'Amours, they're good. They enrolled in the University of Masculinity. They're good to go. Now you hand someone a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. There's no chance a fatherless man is going to learn how to be a masculine guy from that. You know, there's very few things out there that you can hand somebody this and be like, all right, these are going to have some principles that you can actually like process and learn and understand, and they're going to help you kind of like work through all that it is to be a man. And I think that everybody in this book understands those principles very well, and that's why they wrote it. That's why Frank and Zach called them to make the move. So super exciting time for it's coming out at a perfect time for like Christmas releases.
Yeah.
So it's coming out September 30th, which would have been yesterday. So pick it up, check it out. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it.
Well said. It's an exciting a book drop to get this out into the different communities and young men. Like I talked about, I want to get a book club going for young men around here, so I'm gonna be taking it to my libraries down near me and seeing if we can just like stock up copies there. But you mentioned something that made me think, where you were saying can't hand them Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it's like, yeah, there is a place for that, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but if that is your only content diet, like the idea of a content diet to me is super important. For everybody, like, we're not off the hook as adults. Like, young boys, you need to make sure that they're watching as much and reading as much kind of like men's adventure fiction and serious and or historical content that fulfills them, as if you're going to let them watch something that's just like funny and empty and vapid. But if it's all empty, vapid, and harmful in some ways, then that's the bad route to go down. Same with us as, you and me. If I spend all my time content diet on, like, for example, my phone keeps wanting to show me lately all these documentaries about like different horrific events, like dark true crime stuff. If I were to just click on that and just go down those rabbit holes, it fascinates me for a minute, and then it really starts to depress me, and I'm like really cynical, and I don't like that. So I need to be managing my diet of what I'm putting into my head and make sure that I'm like, all right, let me throw that to the side. Let me pick up a Louis L'Amour book. Let me pick up Giacomo Ferrentino story, and let me get something that actually like fulfills or builds me back up. Because I think it's too easy for our algorithm to like pick up on, oh, this guy, he watched that whole video, so now he wants more of that, and it's like then it'll like easily put you down a pipeline that just sends you flying into somewhere you don't want to be. Yeah.
Super
gotta
well
watch
said.
that.
I think that's a good point too. It's like we've hyped up these books on like, oh, these are books to make you a man, the short stories in the Boys Book of Adventure, but let me be 100% clear. These are super fun, right? Like that was the goal. It was to be like, we don't want to give books like a thesis on, here's what you need to strive to be a young man in the world today. They're all just fun stories written for men.
Right.
And I agree. That's a really good point that you bring up. It would be like just eating like Wheaties or potatoes, or, I mean, both of those are pretty solid things, but like if you can survive on a lot less diet-wise and be okay. But, dude, life becomes so much better when you're having steak and potatoes. You're having some yogurt. You're having some Wheaties. You're having some honey. Like you can have a full thing. So if we're watching our Parks and Recs, we need to be watching something that's like actually has some intention behind it and some well thought out stuff that helps us grow. Like you said, maybe it is good to watch a true crime once a month to be like, okay, the world is actually still bad. Good thing to remember, But if you're like, oh, dude, all I can watch is true crime, you're gonna be like, you're not even gonna be able to walk to your car without getting terrified. But that's what's cool about men's adventure fiction, is it has some of the serious, weightiest stuff that has really like clear ideas it wants to get across, and the other stuff is just popcorn entertainment. And dude, sitting right at the middle of as fun as it can get and as weighty as it can get is the new release from Jeff Pintabona, Killers from Yellow Rock. Fantastic story, and it also came out yesterday with the Boys Book of Adventure. And man, I cannot tell you enough. I remember the first time he submitted it a couple months ago, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh dude, this is sick. I don't know where it's going, but this is sick. And then it got to where the story really like went off the rip, and I was like, oh my gosh, this just keeps getting cooler and cooler. And then there's a whole section, and I don't want to say too much because I'm not sure what is spoilers, what is not spoilers, but essentially there's a retired outlaw who lives on top of a mountain in Yellow Rock, and there's like a $25,000 bounty on his head. And that is a lot of money back then, dude. That is like astronomically high money. It's probably in the like, if it were today, it would probably be close to like, I don't know, $10 million. That's just totally guessing off the top of my brain. But so 19 people have rolled up there trying to get him, and my boy Totten's just dropped them, because that's what he does. He's the man. And then a young man comes, and that's when the story really takes off. So it's possible, no spoilers here, it's possible that the two of them have to embark on a journey to right some wrongs. And that's what's super cool. That's where, like, and it is as fun as it gets, because the older outlaw takes this younger guy kind of under his wing and teaches him how to be a badass, essentially. But it's super interesting because the outlaw is not necessarily a good guy, right? Like, he is a super layered character, and the young man is trying to gauge this. So I think that it would probably be like PG-13, if not slightly higher, but I still would say this is a great one for young men to read, because it has a really good kind of like back and forth on, we all have things we want to do in our lives, and what is the perfect amount of the ends justify the means versus I have to be, yeah dude, look at that cover, truly fantastic. I have to be so rigid in my belief systems that I'm gonna like run myself off a cliff because I can't adapt to new changes. And it is just fantastic. I remember probably like a third of the way in, maybe a little less, there's it gets you hyped up to be a man and hyped up to possibly do any sort of training, because there's some training sequences in here, and I was reading it and I was like, bro, I think these were written specifically for L.S. Goodish. That dude is going to love this, and it is fantastic. So, great work, Jeff. If you guys have not checked it out, definitely check it out. Right now, I believe Longwood Trail is on a 99-cent Kindle promotion, along with Treasure Is My Trade, actually. So if you wanted to catch up on these, hop on there and check them out there. They're as cheap as they're going to get, and they're fantastic. So we wanted to do that to kind of highlight Jeff's great work, because Longwood Trail is fantastic. Killers from Yellow Rock is fantastic. And you guys, if you need some Westerns to read, this is the stuff, dude.
Yeah, dude, Jeff is, this is what makes me excited and happy. It gives me the motivation to push through with when Veritas and life gets kind of like difficult, is the fact that we get to publish stuff from someone like Jeff Pintabona, where, dude, he is one of the most prolific guys we've got, and one of the most talented guys we've got. Right. His stories are incredible. Like you said, there's just this vibe, this excitement, this world, this fire-building thing inside of you when you read Jeff's books that, ignites that passion to be a man and to go out and adventure. And you're like, that's exactly what this genre is supposed to do. So the fact that we have one of the guys doing it with us on this Veritas team, it's like, dude, this could not be better. And like Nathaniel said, this book just came out, so go pick up Jeff and the boys' book. But Jeff is so prolific that we have another Jeff release coming very soon. We're gonna start to tease. So once you get this, you're like, he is. So once you see this, and you're like, all right, he's crushed the Western twice now. Just trust me. Next couple weeks, within the month, you're gonna, well, not this month of September, but within the month of October, you're gonna see a Jeff release that is gonna be different, and it's gonna blow you away. And I'm excited. I'm just excited to have
It'll
Jeff
be
on the Veritas team.
perfect for the season too. And I think actually at the time of recording this will go live October 1st if my mental math is correct, because the 30th was yesterday.
It is within this month.
Yeah, dude, that guy, I remember thinking about it. In like half the time it took me, he will have 2 novels out and a short story collection. And that's not right. I was thinking, like, I write pretty quick, but dude, he just laughed me basically. Me and Jeff are going to be duking it out on who's writing and releasing faster.
Are you and Jeff, Captain America, and Anthony Mackie from that scene in the Winter Soldier? Where it's on your left, on your left. You can't let that happen.
I hope not. Yeah, because I'm afraid that I'm the Anthony Mackie in this situation. But yeah, truly. Super exciting stuff. So yeah, I think this next week there's a week break, and then you might be expecting a couple more to rock and roll out. So super cool stuff. But I know I said that at time of watching this it'll be October 1st, but we're doing one last swing for the fences here with Swashbuckling September, kind of to cap it all off. And you want to tell them what it is, brother? You want to drop it on?
So with In the Heart of Alexandria having released in this month as well. Great Veritas lineup all around, guys. Great work from Team Veritas. Sick. I love it. This is great stuff. So nice work. But with In the Heart of Alexandria being a swashbuckling story, and us having Swashbuckler September, thanks to Terrence. Thank you, Terrence Lehue, Suit Up Podcast. We wanted to discuss, this is more so, Nathaniel, I'm going to preface that because my list, we'll get into it, nightmare. But Nathaniel wanted to discuss the Swashbuckler loadout, meaning, what is the swashbuckler in the perfect world, in your perfect world, going to take on his adventure. So make sure you are in the comments letting us know, or the Men's Adventure Fiction Discord, which is linked in the description. Let's talk about your loadout of what you're bringing if you're a swashbuckler. But Nathaniel, I'm going to open this up with a question, the one I asked before, but now that we're on the podcast, we can kind of hash it out. What time period? And what are my specifications, dude?
He already has his list. He was just asking for you guys.
I've got my list.
I think there are no specifications. I'm going to go kind of off of what I think Jacques would do, and still super gray on the timeline there. It is in the 10-year range, I guess 20-year range of 1890 to 1910 is when Giacomo Ferrentino's stories are really taking place. So do with that what you will. But truly, there are firearms in this scenario. But you can hop in with whatever you want. But I can start us off. You ready?
Okay.
You ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready.
Now, dude, I woke up unfortunately early this morning. And I hopped on here, and while I was waiting for you, I decided I'd do a little research. So let's just dive right into the old. I mean, I'm sure one of the ones on your list is some sort of sword, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you have a specific sword in mind?
I was looking it up because I don't know swords, but the one that Zorro has is what I'm thinking.
That's a rapier.
I want that.
And that's what I was looking up, dude. Because in this, on the cover, he's got a rapier. In the book, Jacques uses a saber, actually. And so I was thinking, dude, like, what's the difference? What are we looking at here? What's going on with the saber versus the rapier? So, with probably like 10 minutes of research on this, I am obviously now
expert.
Yeah, I know it all. First of all, let me just sideline real quick. If you like sword fighting, if you like swashbuckling, if you like learning things about those things, check out Robin's Swords on Instagram. That dude is the man. He is like, I don't know if he's a world-class HEMA athlete, but he sure seems like it. And HEMA is historical European martial arts. And that dude has some of the... I mean, I'll just be like going on YouTube for some reason and all, and I'll see there's a new video from him, and he does fantastic shorts. I'm locked in. I'm watching like 15 minutes of his videos because he is so knowledgeable, and it's so cool. So HEMA is, for all those who don't know, it is like essentially just the gang getting together, and they all have really high quality swords, and they all have like fencing equipment, and they just sword fight and practice. They either practice or they actually do like meets and do some stuff, and it is super cool to see. I mean, we did the trailer for Jacques, and me and my brother were out there, and we're like swinging these swords at each other. And I told him, I was like, all right, don't try to hit my sword blade, try to hit me, because if you're just smacking swords, it's super obvious. And he was just going after me, and I was like, bro, I have no idea how to defend this.
Was he good? Because I remember sword fighting you, and I was like, wait, Nathaniel's actually good at sword fighting. Because we were at All Fest, and we had the swords, and eventually we just had to pick them up and start to be boys, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you told me that same thing where you're like, make sure you're trying to like attack the person, because you're not, if you hit the sword, that's dumb. And like, that's not going to do anything. But I tried to hit Nathaniel, but it was hard to do that. No, and it was very easy for him to stab me. I killed you a few times, but you killed me much more times. And then everybody else at Paul Fest, we killed them because they were just like, what's going on here? And we're just two guys just in our seats.
As Manny would put it, us old guys make fun of you young guys for doing that. Exactly. we had a good time, dude. To that point though, let's just talk about how hard it is to not get absolutely freaking nerfed when you're sword fighting. It's impossible. I mean, I've got these plastic swords, right? And I'll give my daughter one, and she's 3 years old. She's got no control. I mean, she's pretty athletic, but she's not like able to outsmart me yet, for the most part.
Fight IQ.
Dude, next thing you know, I'm getting stabbed. I'm like, what the heck? This is a 3-year-old. This is terrible. I mean, maybe Peter Pan really had a chance against Captain Hook. But I digress. So Robin Swords, dude, super cool guy, and he talks about all this stuff, and it really, really helped me writing the sword fights in the heart of Alexandria. And one of the things that he talked about was, dude, sick having this prop here. Sabers, according to this article that I now am expert level on, are curved, and they're lighter and shorter than a rapier. So rapiers are probably in the like 2 to 3 pound range, and sabers are in the 1.5 to 2.5 pound range. But they're also probably about 6 to 10 inches shorter than a rapier. And they're really sick for riding on horseback, which you think of, like they were cavalry swords in the Old West, and they were kind of like held in combo with a pistol in one hand and a saber in the other, so you're just blasting people and hacking down at people. So they're more of a slashing weapon, where rapiers are more of a precision thrusting weapon. Now, when the two come together, I think it really depends on 100% the skill of the sword fighter. But one of the cool things that a saber has that a rapier doesn't is the curved blade, and I would never have known this until my boy Robin talked about it. So if you're coming down, right, say you're bringing a nice like slash down on someone's head, they bring up their rapier to block it, and they've got the flat rapier, you can, as you hit, turn your sword upside down, and now, dude, you can slide this bad boy, and you got the hook coming down over their sword, and there's really nothing they can do about it. So that's the one benefit, I think, in the rapier to saber battle that the saber has over the rapier. Because I think overall the article ended up saying, like, if you're in a rule battle where it's more like fencing, then the rapier is likely going to win. But if it's just a no holds barred going at it, there's a big chance that the saber can take the cake, because it's a little lighter, a little faster. It just doesn't have as much reach. But dude, when you factor in that hook move, I don't know, that's a deadly move there.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the equivalent of an overhand right in boxing, where it's just like the angle over top and it's just a little bit different. Dude. You pop one, dude. That's an intense one. I think the way you were describing, so I wanted the rapier because I was a big Zorro guy. Immediately no context to the like combat utility of it. But what I want my sword to do in my sword loadout is I want it with the intention of a few swings and defensive get away from me's, and then I need to get away. I feel like because I was a swashbuckler, dude, I'm going to be jumping around a lot. I'm going to be just zigging and zagging. I'm not going to sit. I'm not going to have a broadsword and like sit and fight you for a long time, I don't think.
Right.
Especially in this loadout, I'm going to have guns and stuff like that. I picture it being more of a quick use. So maybe I'm even thinking katana, dude, just for a sweet unsheathing, slash your neck, put it back in, run away kind of thing. Like, I need those kind of swords myself.
Yeah, dude, that's very well said. I don't know, when when it comes right down to it, dude, I think the rapier is just cooler all around for me. But I don't know, dude, throwing the katana in there was a bold move. I don't know who's winning there, dude. Because that's something for future Jacques installments. Is we'll see what's going on with the rapier versus the katana, maybe. Super cool stuff. But I guess that kind of takes out both of our number one spots. Would you say?
Yeah, the sword. I'll take the katans.
Dude, let's go. And I don't know, man. I guess if I gun to my head right now, I mean. Well, I
sword to your head.
Rapier to my... I think I'll go with the rapier. Because they're just so sick. I mean, you got the old Three Musketeers. You got the whole squad. Rocking and roll with them. Zorro. Yeah, it's classic. All right. For my second one, also sticking with the Jacques idea, I think I'm going to go with the old parrying dagger. Because those are sick. They're basically like a short rapier or a longer dagger, and I read that they were somewhere around like 19 inches long, but they had a big like cup around the hand so that you could really use them. And believe it or not, they were for parrying stuff.
No way, dude! Parrying dagger for parrying? That's silly.
So I honestly think that's kind of where the you know how like Swashbuckler is supposed to have the sword and the buckler.
I think the buck, yeah.
Yeah, I think it eventually parried down to the parrying dagger instead of the swashbuckler. So because it's like the same thing. The buckler is probably like about this big, but the parrying dagger is probably like covers the hand fully, and then you also have an added blade. So super sick, dude. I mean, watching that, the back and forth of that is one of the coolest things ever. Because like I said, I mean, you're using it. It's basically one is your attack, which is your sword, and then the other is your shield, and you're able to defend stuff. But I've heard that it's fallen out of style now when things moved more towards fencing. But it's pretty cool. So I think that's my number 2.
Yeah, I think you and I have similar minds because I was also thinking I want a shorter version of the sword and or just a knife. Since we said no time period limits, I'm not going to go parrying dagger like you, but similar concept, dude. I want the karambit because I think it's just got such a nice stylish flair, which really fits with the swashbuckler. And it has like the loop where you can spin it back into your hand. It's curved. Having that with your blade could be kind of sick. I think it just fits nice with the swashbuckler, and it fits the same concept of having a little blade with your huge blade. I don't know.
Right.
I'm going.
Dude, karambit. It would be sick if they made like a karambit that had the like swashbuckler cup thing. You know what I mean? Where it has like so you'd have the extra thing, so then you could really use it fully as like a buckler kind of guy. And if it was a little long, like, dude, imagine a long karambit would be crazy work. That's
hey, man, we can make one for Thomas Redford and Nate Colt to have in their stories.
Nice, dude. Well, I guess I can go next. We got the next one up.
We're up.
How many did you come up with?
Infinity. I have 8 million.
All right, let's do 4 or 5 each. So this is number 3 for me.
Okay.
Now this one, I picked this one because I wanted it to kind of like, no spoilers for In the Heart of Alexandria, but this one is a little bit of like thinking ahead for the series. So the end of this book sets him up in somewhere where it may not be quite right, appropriate even, to be toting around a whole rapier or saber. So I was thinking about this, dude, and back to my boy Robin Swords. Actually, I meant to pull this up because I've got the company on my phone because I'm like super interested in getting one of these. Let me see what it's called. Oh, dude, I'm not gonna be able to... Okay, here it is. It is from Swordus, and they make this absolutely sick cane sword, dude. So I was thinking of the cane sword, and most cane swords that you see, every time I go to an antique store, mind you, I'm always like, there's a ton of canes, and I'm always grabbing them, trying to unscrew the top off of them. There's never any swords. It's such a bummer. But this one's like, it's probably around $300, so super steep on the price point wise, but it is like a real legitimate sword, and it is fantastic. And dude, what's cool about, I mean, canes are already kind of a badass weapon, right? Like, you're literally just carrying the old beaten stick.
Yeah, and like the hook where you can grab people by the back of the cane neck and pull them in.
Right, or like duck a punch and hook the leg out from under him, dude. Super sick, super sick. But throwing the sword, dude, crazy. And what he said he did, like, he got one sent to him, the bastard. I need to get one of these sent to me. But he had the sheath, like the actual cane part. He said that would be really good to use as a parrying weapon. So you've got the two. So you got the sword that'll kill, and then you got the other thing that's just like a blunt instrument. And to your point with the karambit, dude, if you're sword fighting, you can like lean in there, like move their thing away, and then throw a little punch, and dude, slice them right, like slice their face right off with the karambit, dude. That was a good pick. But same kind of thing I was thinking with the sheath for the cane. Super
with
cool.
Which one?
With the cane sheath where you can just like
cane
smack
sheath,
people.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, and imagine you almost have like a bow staff with your sword, spin it around and smack people in the head, stab them over here. Pretty sick.
Yeah, dude. Pretty sick. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is climbing gear of some kind, like rappelling and or climbing gear. Because like I said, my swashbuckler's got to be on the move, dude. He's got to be mobile.
That's a good one.
He's got to be attacking the city, but then escaping that city before it starts to turn on him. So I got to get the climbing equipment.
Swinging around on the rope, dude, is one of the most iconic swashbuckler things.
Like, I don't think grappling guns are real or exist, but I would definitely use a grappling gun if I were a swashbuckler. Like,
yeah, dude,
hitting the Batman old ching, whoa, just going away, dude. Like, that is classic swashbuckling stuff right there. So, I need a big bag of climbing gear on my back, I guess, which is going to be cumbersome, but I can also, Jackie Chan style, I could use it humorously in fights. I could fling it back, hit him with the backpack, dude, smack him on the head with that.
You can also tie up any of the bad guys at any point, so that's clutch too.
I can, again, Jackie Chan, just have him punch through the holes on the backpack and then tie it up and push him down steps.
Dude, that, the grappling hook in general is a super cool one. I think that was a really good idea.
Is it real though? Does it exist?
Well, grappling hooks definitely exist. My brother owns one.
Like where you can shoot it and grapple?
No, the grappling gun on the other hand.
Grappling gun, yeah.
But
grappling hooks.
I feel like that might be real for like special ops guys. But dude, they are tough to use. I remember one time we were urban exploration, just exploring some abandoned places, and there was this like big old log kind of like had fallen right over this hole that went deep into the earth, and I was like, Eli, you got your grappling hook? And he's like, of course I do. And so we like hooked it around, and then I just like kind of dropped in there. It was only probably like 15-20 feet or something like that, so there wasn't really any chance of me dying, but I like snuck in there. And then everybody just walked around and got in at the ground level.
The nerd way.
But super sick. So that's a really good one, dude. I guess it's back to me.
Back to you, dog.
Dude, this is tough. I don't know. I was really only thinking 3.
Would you like me to
go? I mean, you can go if you want to. Yeah, hop in there.
No, if you actually have one, go. I thought you were struggling for a minute.
I've got one in mind, and I don't know the exact model, dude, but it's the revolvers that our boy Rick O'Connell carries in the mummy.
Oh, right.
Those ones are
They're not
so
the Navies,
sick.
Are they? Navies
no, they're
Navies.
Let me see. Let me look it up. I got the old internet at the palm of my hand.
The scene though, where he's in the cave, dual wielding those, and just goosh, is exactly why that movie rules. And it's coming from Rick O'Connell, one of the coolest characters ever. So fun, so entertaining, so swashbuckling.
They're called the Chamelot Delvine Model 1873, and they are sick looking.
Would have never gotten that, dude.
Look at it. It's like,
look at that thing.
It's also super period accurate. I was also thinking that Rick is a foreign legionnaire too, so that lines up with our boy Jacques being one as well. So those are so cool, dude, and they just fit the vibe perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of pistols that don't necessarily kind of fit the swashbuckler vibe, and truthfully, when I think of a pistol for a swashbuckler, my first thought is almost always going to be the old flintlock guy, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's what they would always have. But the Chamala Delavine, whatever it is. Sick pistol. So I think I got to go with that.
They should rename it the Mummy pistol, to be honest.
They should just name it Mummy Mark 1 or something like that. But yeah, that's... And this is what I've been thinking a lot about, too. So in the heart of Alexandria, he had a pair of them on his hips, kind of like a cowboy, but he switched them to, like, under his arm so that he could get them. Sorry. And they would hide under his robes a little better when he was, like, infiltrating the city. So I think that's kind of another... Dude, Swashbuckler is, like, a super complex character because they're both, like, the ultimate not hiding undercover at all. You know, like, they're literally traipsing around with the old sword on their hip, doing whatever they want, looking for trouble. Whereas the other side, though, I feel like is the classic cloak and dagger kind of thing. You know, where they're, like, super, like, hiding and sneaking around and doing all this stuff. So it's very interesting that it's both.
The clothes always seem to play a part too, whether it's like using like a cape, a Zorro, to kind of like block things, or sometimes they have things wrapped around their arms so they can like block out. So you can always throw in clothing for the swashbuckler as well, and it becomes a mechanism. You think in the modern version you could do like a weighted leather jacket, and he can kind of like smash down weapons with that and use it when he needs to, but he can also just wear it to go around town like a normal guy.
Yeah, dude.
You can really make a sick modern swashbuckler, dude.
Maybe,
so
like you said,
throw all those into the Nate Cole story, dude. Thomas and Nate rocking heavy leather jackets.
That's really smart, because I mean, like we said, rapiers and sabers are pretty light. I mean, they're also sharp, but I'm sure if you got it on like the side or the back of the blade, you could definitely do some parrying with your leather jacket, even just a regular leather jacket, which is pretty sick.
You wrap it around your hand pretty fast, and if it's like lined at all, you could just use it to block, punch. It's heavy. Yeah, dude. You know, stab. Yeah. All right. But mine was not. No, mine was not.
Is that yours?
No.
Dude, are you sneaking in a little bonus guy?
That's a little bonus guy. Because my actual one, I hope, is a little unexpected. I don't drink, but mine is going to be a wine sack, dude, because the swashbuckler always needs to have a good time. I need to be the partier. I need to be making friends. I need to be able to get the, guard drunk so I can be like, all right, thank you, take the keys. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm taking the wine sack, and I'm going to use it to my advantage. That's my goal.
That sounds like a good one, especially like I'm thinking big time. Like Don Diego Vega rolls up to the guardhouse, and he's like, "Hey boys, how you doing?" And like, "Oh, Mr. Vega, we're not supposed to be talking to anybody." He's like, "But I brought the wine sack," and they're like, I'm in. Pour me a glass." So, dude, you could have the unspiked wine sack for when you're enjoying stuff yourself, and then you can have the old knockout wine drops, dude. Very good one.
So that's my final pick, dude. The wine sack.
Well, don't. Are you counting the leather jacket as one too? Because
oh yeah, sure. I can also count the leather jacket. You doing another one? All right, go for it. Leather jacket's my final one.
Dude, second. Although I'm tempted now to come up with a cool
wardrobe piece.
Yeah, dude. Because the cape. We need to talk to whoever's in charge of stuff about bringing capes back.
Dude, the Batman has a cape. I just watched the Batman. Sick movie. Sick Zorro movie too, because of the Don De La Vega thing where he's just himself. You remember the scene in the Batman where he's like can't get into that restaurant as the Batman, and he tries to get in, he beats everybody up, but then he just shows up as Bruce Wayne and he gets right in. It's like that was a very Zorro thing to do. It's totally just be your person.
Dude, that is too sick. I remember maybe like 5 to 10 years ago, I saw a news article, and it was like, Antonio Banderas is insistent that capes come back into vogue, like fashion. And I was like,
that's
bro,
hilarious, dude.
Say less. I'm in. But he wasn't talking about he was talking about like full dress capes. So the type of stuff where you'd be like wearing a tuxedo under it, and it has like the massive it's got kind of like the collar cape. You know what I'm talking about? Where it kind of pops like this.
Red carpet premiere, you have to wear a cape.
Dude, that would be so sick. 50%. I think we could definitely bring it back.
Just
so if you guys like capes, support the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast at Veritas Entertainment, because we will make capes a staple of society once again. But yeah, dude, I remember seeing some sort of like Instagram style video, fashion video thing, like history, and basically I think they fell out of style towards the late 18th century, 1800s. I always get those wrong.
This was probably Real Man, Real Style, huh? That guy does really good, like, why did these stop being fashionable videos? He's pretty
He might have done that. But I think it was somewhere, it like transitioned into like the great coat, the top coat kind of type of thing. And then they were like, there's no reason for it. But dude, the cloak, I mean, truthfully, there would be nothing nicer on a cold winter day than wearing like a full tuxedo and having a cloak to kind of pull about you. And you could pop it up and wear your top hat, dude, and you look absolutely sick. Maybe not the top hat. I'm not sold on top hats, but you would look sick.
And the monocle, dude, where's your monocle?
And this is what I'm saying, dude. This is when the cane sword comes in absolutely clutch. But for my final pick, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say what this is all making me want, dude, is a very old Giacomo Ferrentino story where they don't realize at the play that this old man in his top hat and his monocle is actually Giacomo Ferrentino, and he just whoosh, goes into it, dude. Has a sick fight in this playhouse, and he's cutting the ropes, flying up, dude.
Yeah, dude. As the weighted stuff on stage lifts, he's holding onto the rope and you're onto something here, dude. I was thinking about yesterday as I was rolling around delivering packages. I was like, where am I going to take the Jacques story right now? Because we've been hustling so much that I'm really not in the mood for like writing. You know, even editing.
Doing some work. Well, no,
dude, especially you've been killing it. So thank you for all that you do to make all this stuff successful. But I was thinking, like, dude, it would be sick to jump in kind of like a totally random point in Jacques' life as the next one. But I think I want to pick up right where I set up the setup. But we'll see. There's no rules, so we could do whatever we want. But I was thinking,
no rules, dude.
How does he interact with the greater Nate Colt universe and legacy characters that I have already written? We don't know. Or maybe we do, and you'll find out soon. But I digress. My final pick, and perhaps one of the most important ones, I think has got to be throwing knives. I remember one of the sickest scenes in the Mark of Zorro 1940 is these dudes are like sitting there looking at the wall, and the alcalde put a new thing saying like $5,000 reward for the head of Zorro, and out of the blue, dude, a knife flies on there, and attached to the knife is a new like paper that Zorro wrote up. He's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. The alcalde is going down, and it's super sick. Yeah, dude. So the throwing knife, I think, is clutch. There's a little bit of throwing knife action in the heart of Alexandria, and I think that it's super cool because it is like, for the most of history, it was very hard to make a quiet handgun. Even now with suppressors, they're still not fully silent. So, dude, if you're able to just like whip a throwing knife into somebody, they're done. So done, they lose their headphone. They're done, and you're on to the next one, dude. Pretty cool stuff. So I think that's what I got to go with.
And it's the ultimate way to establish yourself as the guy in any scene, is just throwing the throwing knife at anything, whether it's like, I'm going to pin this guy's hand to the ground, or like to the wall, or I'm going to take down a poster, like you're saying, throw it right in the middle of someone's head on a poster. It's the way to establish, I'm skilled as skilled gets, my guy.
Yeah, dude. I remember, wasn't it Wesley Snipes and Jason Statham at the end of The Expendables were doing the throwing knife thing? And they threw it into the dartboard?
Yes.
2-6. I remember seeing that and being like,
I think it's either those guys, and then Barney, maybe. Him and Barney do like the contest all the time and see who can throw it. Great stuff.
Does Barney throw, or does he do the quick draw with the pistol and they see who's faster? Because I think he does the quick draw shooter.
Yeah, because
that's such a bummer that those movies aren't like the greatest movies of all time. It's such a bummer. Dude.
Every time I watch it, I want it to be better than it is. It's not.
Yeah. It has so much potential. It's just absolutely flubbed. But I think that covers all of the loadout for the Swashbucklers. And a fantastic end to Swashbuckler in September. There's a pretty sweet article that kind of sums up the Swashbuckler philosophy that we talked about in an earlier podcast episode on pulp, pipe, and poetry. So if you have not subscribed there, check it out. I think if you like listening to us talk, I'm sure you'll like reading us talk as well. And there's some fun short stories all the time too. So you can hop over there and check it out. Other than that, I think submissions are fully closed for the Noir November, and also for the horror short film festival. If you have something, you can reach out. The answer will most likely be no, but it doesn't hurt to ask. But yeah, you can just email veritasentertainmentllc@gmail.com for any questions about that sort of stuff. Also, if you have any submissions, send them away. We're working out a timeline for stuff for the future, and we'll roll that out in the next couple weeks of like how things are actually going to work. But yeah, that's all I got.
Heck yeah, dude. Very fun topic, very fun genre, very fun book in the heart of Alexandria. So make sure you go get your copy. It's this close to being the #1 overall best-selling book. So, and that's in paperback. So make sure you get a paperback, because the cool kids read paperbacks, honestly, anyway. So that's always where we like to see the actual physical copy, dude. I'm a physical
media.
Fan, so
bring it. And thank you very much. Shauna killed it with the cover, dude. So thanks to her.
I love that. I love how that cover looks, dude. That's very sick.
Fantastic. Cool, guys.
Well, thank you guys for watching.
We'll see you next time. It was close. That was my wife has, so far, she's gotten the first ever copy of Treasure Is My Trade and the first ever copy of this one. So I wonder if she can keep the streak alive.
Mine's on the way for Heart of Alexandria. Dude, it's not here yet. Very sad, but it's on the way.
Thanks for the support, my brother. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.